Perfect. So we're going to see how your ball is doing on these first two. Okay, so let me just take a quick look. You guys are running double dive tanks here with your Tracer Echo, so you're effectively running what we'll call old meta with 2 dive tanks, and they are running at you Ball Hog with... That is a really weird backline that they're running for this. Okay. So you're filling in for a scrim. Is there like what's your engagement plan? Have you guys communicated how you want to take this, or do you have a section of the map you're responsible for? Is there anything I should know going into this?
I think the focus for this team was to focus on one target at a time.
Okay.
Like we call it target, and you go on that target.
Yep. Got it. So they were working on their target hog effectively. That's fine. You want to go through here. I can live with that. You guys do have the better poke than them, barely. So was there a called target here, or was this you just doing general disruption?
I think we were just rounding the corner, and then Roadhog just came out of nowhere.
Okay. You can do the rewind. So here, you're rounding the corner, expecting to go for a real hit, and then the Roadhog shows up, so you guys take your damage on him. Got it. And then you're just going general disruption at this point. Not wild. And you should easily get a 300 of... Yeah, okay, you do. Good. Did you really need to tether out of there? I don't think you were in serious danger.
Powering shields.
Yeah, okay. I just don't necessarily like leaving the fight quite this far. I'd have probably preferred that you'd gone through here a bit, because this is going to take you a little bit of time to turn around.
Okay.
Not a big deal at all. And that should, well, it could have been an easy finish. Did you know if Hook was out?
Yes.
Okay.
Engaging. Impact area. Speed maximum. Scanning for targets.
Okay, so we've talked about this with your ball play before, and it's something that I'm noticing again. It's not the end of the world, but are you mentally sort of tracking where your tracer is? Are you guys working together? I noticed you were with your Winston a bit here, but is that what you're doing? You're going, hey, I'm going to cover this side with the Winston, and my tracer's got this. Like, I haven't seen very much coordination between you and the tracer yet, and that's your better damage source, of course.
I I think with the Tracer here, to my understanding, the Tracer player plays more Kree, so he's very uncomfortable with Tracer, to
Okay,
my understanding.
okay.
So I'm not too sure like what's the game plan with my Tracer. I know more about the Winston, just not the Tracer.
Okay, that's fine. It's not so much like you need something, like you need to. I mean, communicating with the tracer doesn't hurt, but what I'm looking for is more just like hey, I want the tracer to show up on targets that you roll through, that you slam, etc. And I want you to sort of go, hey, we have to be able to fight for space a little more together. It doesn't bother me if you're doing that with the Winston, but if
Mhm.
we look at your team versus theirs, again, you guys are battling for the flank control, and when you need to battle for flank controls, which you're doing. You're getting controls of flanks like this. That's fine, which leads to a dive into here, and I'm okay with that. I'm just like, hey, now you're here, and let's see sort of what you're actually controlling type thing. So this is fine. You should force him out real quick. Your Tracer's here, ready for you. Nothing's over here. Where's your Winston? Winston's right there. Okay.
Area denied.
I kind of like this. I'm hoping that we're going to now get a committal from... Yeah, you can commit hard enough off of this with what you've got. This is fine. Let's take a
Okay.
look. Okay, you're immediately going to go for the BAP?
Powering
No,
shield.
you're going to leave. Let's reverse that.
Rolling out. Area
You
denied.
hit this, you roll up this way. That should give you the window to push them back into it. It mostly does. Yeah, okay. And then you're following the Discord. Yeah, so this is actually pretty fine. I would expect a little more push from your team here. Like, again, they might not be used to you initiating fights. They might be more thinking, hey, our Winston is our initiator. They might have a different calling structure, etc. But this engagement-wise was fine. Your Tracer was here. Your Winston was here. Your Echo was here. This is something that your team definitely had ability to follow up on. You came in with a pretty big adaptive shield. You left a touch early, perhaps, for this first swing out, etc. with your adaptive shield. We can show what I'm talking about there. Though it's certainly not super critical. A little further back. Almost there.
Rolling out. Area denied.
You're a little over half health. You pop a giant shield. I don't mind you rolling about this far, but this is probably too far. Like, this was probably a roll to
Oh.
here and fight type thing. This probably wasn't a full roll away. Like, you have a pretty giant adaptive shield. I don't hate this further rolling away because you do have a lot of people paying attention to you, and your team does end up sort of being late to commit to this. But usually when you've got this big an adaptive shield, you'd spend a little of it before you'd roll further away, if that sort of makes
Okay.
sense.
That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Because as you see, you've now spent a second there. You do that, and your shield just expired, and you had what 300 of it left, so not a big deal. It's fine. I mean, this again, your team is just slow committing in here. Your Echo was the only one who committed as hard as she needed to.
This will protect us. Rolling out. Down.
Check this out. Let's get you back in the fight.
Landing.
Ha! You tried so hard for it.
Let's get you back out.
Navigating.
It's okay.
Adaptive circuits engaged.
Heroes never die.
Winston.
So it looks to me like you're trying to go for some peel here. Is that right? Are you trying to go back to your team to help peel?
That was the call, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not a bad call, but your contribution to peel is, hey, maybe I'll knock stuff away or I'll slam, right? Like, those are the only things you can really do. That's okay. Like, it's not terrible if you're in a place to do that, but I don't really think that that's your best play here. I honestly think your best play is, I'm going to do a roll through here, maybe I'm going to do a slam. I'm going to delay these guys from rounding this corner, and I will get out just fine. Like, I will be using my adaptive shield, I will be using my pile drive, but that's probably worth more in terms of your ability to stop their backline from supporting these guys is better than your ability to hard peel. And unlike a Winston could never do that, right? Like, a Winston can't walk into this Roadhog and this BAP and be like, oh, I'm going to keep the backline out of it, etc. That just wouldn't work. Same thing with the D.Va. But you, with the adaptive shield that you can get, if you're willing to spend that big cooldown, you can go, hey, I'm going to do this and it's fine, and then I'll leave, and I bought 3-4 seconds. That's literally all it is. You swing through, slam, rollout, etc., having popped your adaptive shield during that, and then that's kind of better in some ways because we look at this and go, hey, these guys not getting support is really more than what you're going to be able to contribute to this fight. Like if you contribute to this fight, you maybe knock one of them away, you can't really keep them in, and you apply a little bit of bullet damage, but that, unless you like need to knock a Winston away from your Zen or something like that, your contribution really is better here as long as you're not just getting deleted. I don't think you're going to get deleted. And the key for that is, do they have a backline that is contributing or is going to be able to contribute soon? And can you do that without, just feeding your brain out? Does that sort of
makes
make
sense.
sense? Okay. Like, it's hard for me to say because this isn't really a super normal comp. Like, you guys have gone for a harder dive route of this, and peel dive is totally fine, but the more common peel dive would be the Winston Diva or the Zarya Winston or the Ball Diva these days. Like those are all more common things. Their call to go peel here is right, but you need to sort of go, the call is to peel. Okay, I'm here as a fill. Sure, I'll peel. But the more right solution is probably, I can do this without feeding, and it's going to delay these guys 3 or 4 seconds, and delaying their Roadhog and their BAP 3 to 4 seconds is worth way more than the damage I'm going to do over here.
Okay.
Oh, good. That was just kind of lazy tracking on your part. I can live with that, but we're going to slow this down for a second. It's gone. It's gone. Why are we still shooting? It's gone.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like... How do you feel about the state of this fight?
We're even. No, actually, no, we're up. We're up 1 since we got a res off.
Yeah, we're up 1. These guys are here. This is here. This probably is a situation where I'm thinking on this second lap around, this was probably a mine then slam rather than a slam. It's possible you didn't have mine when you hit slam. You don't want to do it now because you'll get hooked. I mean, you have to be concerned about the hook, but this sort of is where you want your minefield to be, and this is a pretty good timing-wise to be dropping it, right? So if we look back just a second here. Oh, I guess we didn't go back quite far enough.
Landing.
One more instance. Okay, that's fine. You get this, that's good. Can't, so you go for the roll. I like the roll. But I think your minefield here is probably like the mine slam probably makes sense here, right? Like their backline wants to play here. This is where it is. They have more people that are coming through that are going to want to go this way. This is probably where you're going to, unless you guys are specifically planning combos. No, you're not planning a combo with your primal because you've already spent primal. So I'd have liked minefield here.
Okay.
I'm on the objective. Rally to my position.
Okay.
Duplicating Roadhog.
This would be less good, but you could do it.
Denied.
Less good, but we did it. Less good, of course, because they have the beat and the lamp out, but that's okay.
System restored.
Yeah, I don't really like it. I don't really like these roll throughs in general. So if this was like a payload map where your roll throughs delay the cart, they've got some additional value. But if we look at what you're doing, you're not stopping the point from flipping or anything. You're not delaying a cart from moving. This is sort of, I know it's annoying. Your Winston went down, then your Mercy went down. We're losing a lot of time here, but we're not at 97% yet. It's possible that you'll knock the soldier right in there, and if you do that, okay, all is forgiven. Or excuse me, the BAP right in there. That one's got a possibility. But that touch there, like, I think this was just you touching again. I'm not sure what you thought you could accomplish here, right? Like, we're at 92. We don't need to activate overtime. You really just want to break line of sight on these guys again until your team is ready, unless you're trying to bait line of sight so that your team can rotate through a tough spot. But your team is nowhere near rotating through a tough spot.
Group up with
Okay.
So you definitely don't do this. There's no one that you can knock in. Like, yeah, you're pulling their eyeballs away from Winston, but Winston is early. His team is still back here, you know. Winston Echo, like, maybe they see something. Maybe you guys are about to go for a 3-man dive on this BAP with this Lucio or something, but we probably shouldn't be. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you effectively forced your own adaptive shield earlier than you guys want to take this fight. Good job knocking them more from the window. Good. Did you want to end up here?
No.
Okay. I'm not actually sure that the pile drive was a better option. Like, if we look at this, I look at that. If you pile drive, you're right in front of a hog that still has hook. Yeah, I don't really think that's a better option. I think, you know, you could go, hey, you could really just take another lap on this, sort of like, hey, you look at this and go, maybe I swing up over this and I take another lap, but I don't hate the pile drive.
Okay.
And you're just done. Yep. Okay, so that's frustrating for us, Grim. Your team was kind of getting staggering themselves for 20% of the round there, but and then they were slow to commit when you did have that really pretty darn good engage with the minefield there. We saw a minefield that we didn't love. We saw. Excuse me. We saw a minefield that we didn't love. We saw a bit of, fire tracking stuff, and then we saw the point contest stuff that, other than the one, hey, maybe we'll try to get BAP that was, oh, a maybe. Those didn't really make sense touch-wise, so we can clean a little bit of that up, but we're going to find some more here. Something that's a little more... What's that?
You may have to skip a little bit because it's the scrim code.
Thank you. I always forget that these are... Okay. You and your Tracer on the same side this time. I like it.
lifting off.
I don't think your team's going to follow you. So let's look at
Look,
how
I
reasonable that
remember
was.
the call was to go on Zenyatta, so that's why I went for the
Yep.
grapple.
That's fine. If you're following the comms, I'm not going to be upset with you. I'm just, trying to... He's got leap. She's got 3 blanks. Yeah, this should be a hard dive. Okay. And then you even get delayed. And the Zen is right here. I'm not upset. If that's the call, everyone has the tools to get here. They're just not. I would be frustrated. Okay.
The objective is
You have an okay adaptive shield. Let's use it. That is not a Zenyatta, but hey. Okay. This is going to be rough. So, I like the effort, but the problem that I run into here is this is different than what you did before. Remember when before and I was like, oh, hey, they're playing Peel, and I'm saying you might want to go after the backline anyways? The reason this is different is when I look at the resources you have, okay, you're missing, 150 health here. You're also missing your adaptive shield, and missing the adaptive shield is a big deal. Plus you're going into a Briggs, so it's like, okay, if you go in there, there's going to be a Briggs. Their team also has a Sombra, plus there's a Discord orb. Like, I look at this and go, against the other team you can disrupt their backline and not feed. Against this team, especially without your adaptive shield, it's kind of more of a feed to go in there when it's not part of a coordinated dive, especially without adaptive shield, right? So in this case would be a, hey, I'm going to consolidate space for my team. I will help protect my team over here. I will help do this stuff, etc. Or if my team is ready to go in, sure, I'll go in on the Zen. And we have a Discord on this Zen, so my team might be ready to go in on the Zen. But you cannot get this Zen by yourself, and you plus the Discord orb is not enough when there's a Brig on the other team. She is going to be babysitting her ball. That is why she is her Zen. That is why she is being run. You are going to eat a bash when you try to come down into this. You are going to get discorded, and there's a Sombra somewhere. So like this, I look at and go, this time not so much. You're better off helping drive back this Tracer, etc., helping consolidate your lead, get point control, etc. And that's just understanding the compositions. Yeah, you're discorded immediately. You go for the pile drive. You contributed on the Tracer, right? Okay. And you immediately get whip shot out. And there's absolutely no reason you had to survive that, as I'm sure you can see here.
I'm taking the objective. What can I offer?
Not good.
So you basically risk your life to make it a little easier for them to get a Tracer elimination that they were probably going to get, is kind of my big takeaway there.
Gotcha.
Moving up.
Okay, so what's the difference right now, really, between your comps? I mean, it's the same as it was last time, but they have the Briggs plus the Zen. You guys have the Zen plus the Mercy, and then you guys have a Winston where they have a Roadhog. And now they've added this extra piece, which is they have the Sombra where you have the Echo. So which team is better at poke and which team is better at brawl? I know that's a little weird with what the comps are, but do you have a feel? Which do you think is better?
I think we have the better poke and they have the better brawl.
Okay, it's a little dicey, but yes, I'd go with that too. You know, them having the Roadhog makes things a little weird, etc. But yes, so I would agree with that assessment, and what that means is, hey, you're okay to do a little bit more of the, oh, there's a ball here, I'm just going to shoot at him. I'm just going to not let him in. I'm just going to do that, etc. You don't have to be going as hard for these backline things, which I think is what you're about to do. But let's see. Yeah, so again, your team is not going to follow up on this. So my question is, oh no, your Winston's going in. Maybe your team is going to follow up on this. Okay. I feel like that was predictable. So what I mean by this is... Okay, we can go now. It's before your hit. So I think of this and I go, there's a Briggs, there's a Zen, there's a Hog, there's a Sombra somewhere. You saw their ball came in, you don't know where their Sombra is, and their ball is going to bother your Zen, and that is annoying that their ball is going to bother your Zen. I agree, that is annoying. But unlike when they just had the Hog, now they have a lot of scary things. So is it more valuable for you to go, hey, I am going to try to peel this ball, shoot at this ball, make it, leave sooner, or is it better for you to go in? Because what it sort of becomes is a trade thing of, can their ball get in and out easier than you can?
Yes.
Right. This is dangerous. This is only moderately dangerous. This is relatively safe. This is pretty dangerous. So their ball coming in doesn't necessarily mean that you should go in. You still want to, it's the poke versus brawl difference that we were talking about here, where their ball can do this, you can't. So your better contribution really does become, hey, maybe I'm going to play here and shoot at you guys and close the angle if I see a Roadhog or something, or maybe I'm going to go here and shoot at the ball, etc. And if I get hacked, no big deal, because the only one that'll be on me is the Sombra. Maybe I scoot my way over here, etc. Like, this is even if, like, I think your Winston and you committing on this is wrong, quite frankly. If it's a full commit, your Winston, you have a Discord out, your Tracer is going, that's fine. But your Tracer's clearly peeling, and there's not a Discord on squat right now. So this doesn't make sense as a full commit. If you're not doing a full commit, you need to be playing a peel game unless you can get disrupt value, and you can't get disrupt value that is more likely to pay off than this guy's disrupt value. So just peel him and let your team continue to poke. They have to they're really in the position where they have to be looking to make the more aggressive plays unless Sombra can just catch someone with a hack. They have to make the more aggressive plays or you're going to win out with your Echo plus Mercy boosted Zen.
Okay.
Hey.
Standing for targets. Roadhog time.
See you later.
Repairing.
Taking off.
We're going to sort of coordinate with our Tracer. Okay, so I hope you're calling for help here. I don't really want you doing this. Okay, so you see the Tracer here, so you leave and you immediately find a Brig to start shooting at, but my concern is nothing really stops this Tracer from continuing to take space, pressuring you more, and then the Brig's bashing you, right? Like, this could be kind of uncomfortable, would be my concern. So I don't particularly like this. I think you go here, you see this, and you immediately try to leave, would be more what I'd think here. Or you call for your Tracer's help, which maybe you did. Maybe that's why your Tracer is now coming this way, because you and Tracer can totally beat back Tracer. But you don't want to be stuck in this situation. So either call for your Tracer's help, like, break line of sight, call for your Tracer's help, break line of sight, call for your Tracer's help, or leave. And then I'd still get someone's help to go win on this flank. But it looks like your Tracer and your Hog are coming, so we'll live. No, your Tracer's going right.
Duplicating the
I was going to ask where the Discord is, but the Discord is gone.
executing flight maneuvers.
That feeling, deja vu.
Repairing.
Moving up.
Good, just poke at them.
Dropping.
It's okay. It's not amazing, but it's okay. Nice. It's fine.
See you later.
Firing on all cylinders.
Weapons linked.
Mobility.
Standing for targets. Landing.
Heroes never die.
I do like that you're landing these slams on high ground. Again, conceptually, I'm not in love with going for the slams, but because you're landing them on high ground, you're getting enough safety. Okay, so mostly we're just looking at here, hey, let's make sure we've got our proper understanding of what our comp does, what their comp does. You're getting to a point in the game, you're not quite there, but you're getting to a point in the game where that really does start to become the differentiating factors, okay, this is critical for understanding your win conditions, for understanding what puts more pressure on them versus more pressure on your team, etc. And going, hey, we have the significantly better poke, they have the significantly better CC, I don't want to be in there, etc. And again, good adjustments on the high ground slams.
Okay.
5, 4.
Yeah, let's get forward for this one as well.
Yep, I'm working on it.
Ready. Ready for battle.
Mercy on call. Enemy radar contact.
You could see enough damage was incoming there to potentially justify a personal. Let's take one more look.
Enemy radar contact.
Yeah, I mean, you can bubble that if you want. You can see that there's 3 projectiles coming towards you. This is a totally fine bubble. Even if the Zarya thing misses, this is still a fine bubble. And are you doing... No, you're doing Zarya ball. Okay.
Barriers on. Letting off.
The objective is now.
Ready for battle.
Fine.
I am the champion.
Play a little more with your cover. Yeah, this is what I want you with your cover. You're kind of stuck right now. Okay, so let's go back. So you've used both. Why did our personal come out actually?
Ready for battle.
You see a fair rocket. Okay. You go for that and that's fine. So now you don't have to be, you don't have your personal and you have to be more careful with your positioning. I get it. You're here. You're going to get this ball elimination, but you immediately want to be going, hey, I need something I can use as cover again. There's a lot of enemies up. I can't clear Discord. There's nothing I can use for cover. I have to get myself to here, which is sort of what you do.
Everyone on the objective.
And you go here. But this should have pretty much immediately been a swing back to here so that you can continue to use this to kite with. You can't hold this positioning. You can't you can come here, but your slide effectively needed to be back to here rather than out here because you don't have your personal bubble and your personal bubble's pretty darn far away. So you can't take a aggressive, and by aggressive I mean far from cover positioning like this.
Barriers on you. Go.
Not the best ball bubble in the world.
Target destroyed.
Good. Yeah, that happens.
My ultimate's ready.
Barriers on you.
Sorry, they did not QA this patch at all. It kind of broke the spectator bug.
Justice reigns from above.
Okay, I'm going to. Fine. 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 What? You're reloading. Fine.
Ready for battle.
Reasonable. Yeah, unfortunately, that's a little too much time focusing on her. So we just have to be aware that, think about how this goes. So we're here. Do you know if she has her boop or not?
I do not.
She's hard to hit. She's still hard to hit. The instant that you realize she's out of range here, it's time to leave. Because, like, if she
Okay.
comes back up, she's much more likely to dunk on you than vice versa at this point, and wouldn't that be annoying? Like, even though a single right click will get her, landing right clicks on fairs in the sky is hard. Like, we just know it's hard. She will get her shift back eventually, or she won't. And if she doesn't, well, she'll go down, and that's great. If she does, she's going to pop out. You're still not going to be able to hit her, and she'll potentially have an angle to just throw you in there, and that's going to absolutely suck. So we just have to think about this and go, wait a second, the risk to reward ratio on this, even though she's so juicy, not worth.
Gotcha.
And that's uptime. You know, this is time that we could have potentially taken this tracer down in, etc. Even though you didn't go down. Beautiful.
Bring it.
Okay, good.
Much better.
Little surprised that we didn't toss a right click into here, but okay. It's again getting a little lazy with your tracking there. So what I mean by that's sort of okay, but you're still beaming as that's clearly a wall. You kind of continue to drag across the wall there. Now there's a target again. You let go, you beam, and now you're kind of continuing to drag across a wall there. Like, you know where the wall starts, so just try to be a little more aware. It's not like you're wasting huge amounts of ammo, but this ammo does add up for these reloads, for these things, etc. So let's be a little more precise. We want to make sure, again, I don't mind if, hey, you're tracking something, if you're trying to aim and your cursor's here to the left of it, and it's like you're trying to fix it and you're just not fixing it well, that's not going to bother me, but you know where the wall begins. So you shouldn't be dragging from here to like this deep on a wall type situation. Like, yes, okay, fine. If you keep burning right here, even after they've left, thinking maybe they're going to peek, I guess I'd be a little more forgiving of that, but let's just try to be a little better with our ammo use.
Okay.
Duplicating Zarya. Огонь по готовности. Maximum charge.
Why are we reloading with 41 ammo? There's tons of stuff here that we could be shooting at.
Fire at will. We still need you.
It's fine.
I am not a good loser. Barrier is on you. Go.
You know that wasn't a good bubble, so it's fine. You ignore the ball that keeps shooting at the
Barriers on you.
Pharah?
Let them up.
Give me your best shot.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure why we're right-clicking here. Do you think you're going to get the finish on the Pharah? Is that what's going on? Do you think you can take
Uh,
out the Mercy? Go ahead.
I was trying to go for the Zen.
Oh, the Zen. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, at this point, we generally go for the peel and just be like, hey, I'm going to peel this thing that's right here off of my BAP. I mean, there was a moment to bubble her, but it wasn't ultimately going to change anything.
Give me another shot.
The name's McCree.
Gonna reset.
Adjusting angle of attack.
Barrier activated.
Okay. I'm like, now that we've got cover, let's bubble. What?
Barriers on you.
You guys aren't having a good day, but you're gonna try to do this. That should get okay. No delay at the mini. It's a little surprising, but okay. Oh, and that's the end
Oh
of that.
yeah.
No problem.
Yeah.
That's how it works sometimes. Okay, so we're probably less concerned about the Zarya, but we'll start with the Zarya since it's what we just looked at, what we were just talking about. You know, you have some personal bubble questionness that we can still work out where it's like, hey, there's 3 things coming at you. Why aren't you using a personal bubble? Or hey, you're in cover and you're using a personal bubble. I'd actually say you've got a little bit of that. You have some, hey, we saw the challenge of the Pharah. There was the earlier challenge of the Pharah that I'm more forgiving of because it was cleanup phase, etc. It just sucks to get reset there. And then we have some positional stuff that that's probably a little more concerning. And we didn't see a ton of it, but it's like, oh, hey, like this can't happen. You've got to be a little more aware of your cover. Remember, you can position more aggressively when you don't have, or when you have bubble available, but once you've used bubble, or once bubble's on cooldown, you have to be pulling yourself back to places where you have corners that you can play with, etc. Not a huge deal. The thing that we're seeing that applies to both the heroes that you played here is, hey, there's some tracking across walls that you're doing, and your aim can track them across walls, but your left click shouldn't track them across walls. Your ammo consumption shouldn't track them across walls. That's a thing that we want to be aware of. I think Ball is probably who you care about more right now, though, because Ball's more actually in your hero pool. And what I'd say there is your things are going to be, hey, better understanding of when it makes sense to disrupt the opposing team's backline when your team wants to do stuff versus when it makes sense to go, hey, no, I want to be more peely for my team, etc. And most of what that's going to be about is how tough it is to disrupt that backline safely. Like if their team has a lot of poke, you still might go, hey, I want to disrupt their backline over, let me rephrase that. If their team has a lot of poke, you're more likely to want to disrupt their backline. But if that poke is in the form of McCree and Hog, maybe you might have a little bit of it more interest in playing PO. But the real key is you just have to be able to make this differentiation of, hey, can I go in there and survive? And is me going in there actually accomplishing anything? And if they're poke heavy, yes, you going in there is accomplishing something more worthwhile. But if they're stun heavy, you are less likely to be able to go in there and not feed 400 real health, 450 real health, your actual life, etc. And, meanwhile, they've got a ball that can go in on your Zen, on your Mercy Zen, etc. quite easy. So, like, the better understanding of, hey, this is when I need to peel for my team, when I need to close lanes, when I need to close angles and just sort of peel with my weapon or boot people away. This is when I boop the backline away, make it tough for them to follow up on their thing, etc. And then, we saw a lot of stuff where your dives weren't working out, but I think that I know that really had more to do with, hey, your team is late to the party, etc. type stuff. So I would say those. It's going to be, hey, understand when it makes sense for you to be going in versus when it makes sense for you to be trying to peel. And hey, let's try to clean up this aim stuff a bit because that does add up over time. But again, I would like to see better coordination with your tracer than I've seen here, than I saw in the Hanamura game of yours that we reviewed. I would like to still see better of that. I would like to see more of, hey, you go in on a target and your tracer is there. You weren't familiar with the scrim environment. It sounds like this isn't a team that you usually go with, so I'm forgiving of it. But this is the second game where I've sort of seen, hey, you're on a target and your tracer's not there. And on ladder, if that's happening, you can sort of just go, okay, well, I guess I'm going to go where my tracer's going. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, in theory, you should be leading it, you should be doing it, and you are on comms, so I know you can do that. But if that's not happening, they're not on comms, etc., it can still be better to go, okay, well, I'm just going to go in when my tracer goes in, etc., rather than sort of be split doing your own things as often as you are. Do those 3 points I guess I've made sort of make sense?
That makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any questions you want to get into?
Overall, is my ball better than what it was when you first saw it?
Yeah, your ball is better than it was when I first saw it. We are getting into much more nitty-gritty things this time. Like, the cooperation with Tracer is actually pretty important, but we don't have a good opportunity to critique here. The ammo thing, you're not wasting very much ammo. It's just something we're noticing on Biz Heroes. You'll notice that's a smaller tweak than the sort of tweaks that we've been making in the past. And same thing with this, when to go in versus when to stay out. That's a more conceptual thing. That's less about your actual ball play. It's about higher level sort of decision making, etc. So yes, we are tweaking smaller things, and we will continue to tweak smaller and smaller things if everything is going well. So yes, your ball is looking better.
Okay. I mean, that's really all the questions I have.
Cool. Okay, then let me kill the recording here.